All right.
All the way. Right, Joe?
I'd like to call to order the Water and Sewer Commission meeting for Monday, August 3rd. Public participation. Don't see anyone. And I don't think we have any phone calls coming in. So they would call to Steve's office. Billing issues. We have one from a lady on 131 Bay Street. We had received a letter from her friend who was handling for her, Bob Accardi. And did you all get a copy of that letter?
No.
You didn't? You were supposed to.
I got one.
You're familiar with it?
I don't think I have it here. Is it in our package?
It's the last 2 pages.
Okay, okay. Earlier we didn't have it.
It was a test to see if you read the agenda.
Okay.
So, Mr.
Does a lot of work for
Mr. Cardy had contacted us, and he was a surrogate here for this lady who had a bill of $5,170.58 with a penalty of $766.14, and she didn't know pretty much what to do, so he told her he would handle it for her. She had a problem getting her mail on many occasions. Her husband had passed away. And I believe he had passed away.
Yeah, he did.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, they're asking for a relief of that $766.14, I believe. Is that the way you guys look at it? I think that's what I see.
There were 5,000.
She's asking for reducing the bill to the typical amount for that period.
Yep.
And
Well, if it's a broken pipe, they certainly don't, they didn't go through the sewer, then if it's a broken pipe in a crawl space, correct? So,
Or was she asking the bill to be reduced to $761, or is that her normal bill, or?
You know what, I want to read this again.
she's asking to have the bill for that period to be reduced to the normal amount,
Correct.
the typical amount, and also relief of the penalty.
There's a copy of the bill.
345 is the usually amount. My brother checked the usage for the last 33 days, and it was less than 345.
So the usage
going
is back to
down.
normal?
Yeah,
Is it single family or apartment house, or?
they have one tenant.
It's, that's Sally's Barber Shop, that's Pizzeria.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Roger's her caretaker and her.
Okay, he's been there forever.
I got a copy of the bill is yours.
I just want to see what the normal sewer usage was, so we can eliminate that.
seems like we've given more, relief to people like that. It's the one time too.
Yeah, so I'm a little confused. Is she looking, cause she has a bill of 5,107, and then it was 766. So they're asking to reduce that down to 354?
No,
Is that the way you understand it?
they're asking for relief of this penalty, 766.14,
Yeah?
and they would like to have the water and sewer bill reduced to the average amount for that water.
Yeah, so the pass-through
Which-
bill was 5,000.
Yeah, which would be less than that 300 and, I think it's $43, isn't it? It is this quarter.
345.40.
345. So it'll be less than that.
Okay.
So they're probably looking for relief on the order of $900 on this bill.
Not 4,600. If the bill was 5,107,
Yeah,
Pass the,
you take the 766 off for the penalty.
and then you'd reduce that bill from the usage I think was 345.
yeah.
You reduce that to whatever the normal is for that period, which is probably a good bit less. So there'd be another maybe a couple $100 off, so for a total of somewhere around 900 something. Would be, we'd have to check the billing for the,
Yeah,
that
so-
quarter.
Well, table till we get some more information for that.
What's that?
You wanna table it till we need more information on this?
Jeremy, would you take that bill in and see if,
You got the copy of the bill?
yeah,
Jeremy?
see if you can get billing history on that from Paul or Mike. Mike's back.
All right, well, we can table it for now until we get a little more history.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll go to the resolutions. We got approval of the water sewer board meeting minutes from July 6, 2020.
No questions?
I move the motion.
All in favor?
Smith?
Yes.
Next is, you should have a copy of the award for timber sale number 78 up on Beartown, to the recommended bidder.
Yeah, I just circulated that.
Everybody seen it?
Copy?
Have you seen this?
Here's the
Pete?
resolution.
Okay.
It's
yeah.
a bid, yes, that's it.
Um,
What's resolution?
We had hoped for a bid higher than we received as our high bid, which was from Finch Paper. They indicated that, contractors indicated to the forester that one of the things that held the bid price down was the fact that there was a relatively short term for the harvest, because we have to get this completed before our temporary license agreement with Lime Paper expires. So it's still a pretty decent price, and
I thought you said it was gonna be 100 and a quarter.
no, I said that he had an estimate of 76. Sometimes it's been higher, but so Forrester recommends accepting it. It's not as much as we hoped, but it's a decent amount of money. There's an email from him.
Okay. Any discussion?
Next year is the next time, like you'd have to put it to bed until then, right, next season?
We'd have to put it to bed and negotiate a new license agreement with Lime Paper, which was kind of difficult.
Oh, their thing is contingent upon this being gone?
No. Their license, we have a license agreement to cross Lime Paper's property to do this harvest.
Oh, right.
And they were persnickety,
Mhm.
and it was a little bit difficult to achieve the license agreement.
Okay.
And we did one harvest, and this is the second part of the harvest, so. Pardon me.
Yeah, to me it seems if we gotta cross someone else's property and that's difficult to arrange. We're saying goodbye here to $6,000-7,000 out of 70-ish.
Yeah.
It seems, just get it behind us and take what you can.
I don't recommend holding off on it. The timber is all marked, it may have to be remarked if we let it sit for a while.
Yeah.
There's other expenses involved, so I recommend moving ahead. I think we'll cut our losses and get a decent profit on the timber as well.
Not bad.
Yeah, that'd be the factor. If you decide to put it on the back burner for now, we're gonna have to go through and negotiate another licensing in agreement with both of them, and it'll be part of the difference anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while we were able to negotiate the other access, Lime needed access over City. In exchange, City got access over Lime. If Lime no longer needs access over City, we don't have a whole lot to bargain with. They
Yeah.
can just simply say no.
Yeah.
So, from that standpoint, I would say that you could find yourself without access with delay.
Which we may in the future,
I'll make the motion. You accept Brian's bid?
Second?
All in favor?
yeah.
The next resolution is approval of the warrant, or the questions on the warrant.
I got a couple,
Okay,
page 11, 1/3 of the way down, 2,417 for Euro Drive, what, Euro Drive?
Euro drives are, motor speed reducers,
Oh, okay.
and, was that a motor speed reducer for a secondary clarifier, Larry, or a primary?
Secondary
I
clarifier.
thought that was a secondary, yeah.
Okay,
It's a little gearbox, basically,
okay.
and, takes that, probably 1,700 RPM motor and gears it down to, 2 or 3 RPM, gives a lot of torque to swing that big, clarifier arms around.
Okay. And on page 12, the first one, BioSafe Systems, what's a GC Pro,
Uh,
16,000?
GC Pro is, what is the actual name of that? It's a sodium carbonate?
It is calcium
Oh.
peroxyhydrate.
Calcium peroxyhydrate, yeah.
Or something of the sort. It's an oxidizer. It's a relatively safe oxidizer to have and use and store, which doesn't have any regulations on it.
Oh,
Unlike potassium permanganate, it's also less expensive
okay.
than potassium
Yeah.
permanganate. We use it for odor control.
Yeah.
On the belt presses, we add it to the sludge before we pump it up. It not only knocks down the hydrogen sulfide, making the area safe for the workers, it also improves the filterability of the sludge, so we get a drier sludge.
Okay.
It's a good product, and, we substituted a few years ago for the, potassium permanganate, which is regulated by the, Department of Homeland Security. So it's a nicer chemical to use, safer for our guys, and, this is a, what? This is a quarters use of,
Yes.
yeah. It's about a quarter of, a year worth of,
Oh, okay.
I guess.
Okay, next. I'm done.
alright.
any other questions?
Motion to move?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, so I have to leave at 1:15, so I have a discussion item that I wanted to bring up, to talk about, and that is an old business, I guess you would call it. But for those of you that have been on the board a while, you remember the situation we had over on Chester Street and Monroe Street, and how we tried to resolve the problem because there was actually an old creek that ran through Chester Street up into Sanford Street, and there was a lot of water problems, and Steve can give you a little more info on it, but what's happened is we decided to go in, and we went into Peter Taylor's backyard, and we were unable to take the line all the way up to Sanford Street because of the property owner at the time that owned the property would not allow the city to go onto their property, mainly because of some history that had happened over 30 years ago, where they had let the city come on, and the city did some projects, and it was not to their satisfaction in the way it was reclaimed. So they've been pretty hesitant to let the city get involved. So what we did, I think it was 8 years ago or somewhere in that area, we went and we dug up into Peter Taylor's backyard, and we stopped. And you can see there's a big, I'll pass these around, there's a big container there, big vault where the water goes. So now, because we've had such big storms, it is over capacity on that vault. And now it's starting to spill out, and it's going into some of the neighbors' cellars. So Diana Palmer has received numerous phone calls. We've met with the property owner that has been hesitant to let the city go onto their property, and they have agreed to let us send a camera down one spot and to take a look. So we would like to do that, and I wanted to bring it up to the board here and see if we could get your approval to go ahead and do that. At least we can see if there's anything that is in the way. And we also are going to work with Mike White to try to see if we can reduce in that area some kind of flow going into that system. So it's going to be a little bit of a process, but I think it's something that we have to undertake again. I think you're familiar with it, Woody, when we did that.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter, you too.
Yeah. They went to hire their own landscaper, remember, and have the city pay for it.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that was the end of the straw.
So what's the problem with filling up? How was the filling up?
So that's what we want to put the camera
Oh.
down to find out. Steve can talk to it a little better than I can.
Yeah. Well, there was a pair of 24-inch clay pipes that ran through the area, and they were compromised over time. There was some cracking and failures. We had a tree that had punched through the lines. We had National Grid had put a pole in, which they broke the line, and there was some attempts to fix the break there with concrete, which partially clogged the line. We also had a house where an addition was built over part of the line, where the man knew it was a storm line running through his basement, and he decided he would hook his sump pump into it, but he didn't realize the line had a significant amount of head on it, was under pressure. So when he punched a hole in the line, it flooded his basement. So it was a big mess there. And what we did was we started from south of Chester Street. We put a manhole in, picked up the two 24-inch lines, and we ran a large diameter stormwater pipe out. We took out a big structure which used to be a bridge on Chester Street, and we went down across Peter Taylor's property, and we came back out, but we were only able to connect this large line back into the two old lines again. So I think there's capacity problems downstream, and some of that may be a buildup of debris because they had done a repair in between this time period, which is probably the one which upset the family, where they had rerouted the two lines around, and that just isn't really a good idea hydraulically, because the grit would tend to pile up on one corner of those chambers and plug it. So we took half of that problem out, but we weren't able to address the downstream part. What we really need to do, I think, is take a good look at what's there, and quite likely replace the lines right through to Sanford Street.
So the first thing we wanna do is we wanna send the camera down, and I'll just quickly, if you can look and see. This is the property owner, and this is their house on Monroe, and they own all of this here. So they got, you know, like a 50-foot lot, but they own all this property out here, and this is where the line has to go. So we are gonna be able to hopefully stick a camera down and take a look at it and see if there's anything there. And again, up on Sanford Street, up there, we should hopefully try to see if we can find some way of reduction of the stormwater, because there are property owners on Sanford Street that are getting water into their basement too. And we had a project with a stormwater project with the school, but it never materialized. I think we lost a grant or whatever, so that whole area, we will try to reduce the flow from the big storms. So this is something I wanted to bring you guys to say that I think we should stick the camera down, and I think Steve's on board with that.
Mhm.
And we did get them permission to go onto their property and stick the camera down. We probably should get something in writing, don't you think?
Yeah. Just be like a license agreement, we've done them before,
Okay.
pretty straightforward.
And, you know, eventually what we should try to do is, formalize an easement through that property.
They were the ones that would not,
They don't want any.
yeah,
So let's do the camera first, and we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah.
Can you pass that, okay, please?
I think there were 2 or 3 properties that
Thank
were
you.
gonna agree, there were holdouts at the end. I took that over from Jim Lopan, and
Right.
there were some people.
They weren't very cooperative with the whole
No.
process.
I went door to door over there and got a bunch of them, but those last, I think there's 2 or 3 that just wouldn't agree. One, based on what the mayor was saying about prior fill that got brought in that never grew and
Yep.
had chunks in it and
Stones.
stones and.
So that's what I wanted to talk about in discussion, and just bring that up to you. We're gonna go ahead and do that.
We should do that.
Yep. Okay, back to you.
Alright, so I'm gonna figure out what that costs and
Yep.
See if we can get that scheduled and see if it's something that we can carry in our existing budget.
Yep.
And, if we can, we'll move ahead directly. If not, we'll be back to you at the next meeting to get authorization to move some money around.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Since you have to leave, you wanna hit this, billing issue?
Yeah.
So, typical usage over the years has been, 2,000, cubic feet, 2,000 cubic feet, 4,000 cubic feet, 3,500 cubic feet, 1,200 cubic feet. And then during the period when they had that leak, it was 132,000. So, so normally their bill would have been somewhere in the, for usage, would have been somewhere around $65. And, you know, that period it was $2,463.39.
So can you figure out what we would ask for a relief so we can make a motion on that?
The previous year, the usage was 3,285 for that quarter.
They paid the 345 this month. They paid it,
Yeah, but they didn't pay the 5,000,
yeah.
so that's what we're trying to take off.
Yeah, so, you know, you want to adjust their usage down to, what it was last year, which is pretty close to typical.
Yep.
Which is, 3,285 cubic feet.
So with that, with all the,
So Peter, are you saying that they paid their bills? So they paid the normal bills?
They're the normal bill, they didn't pay the penalties.
Gotcha. So they're looking for relief of the penalty.
Yeah.
And a reduction in the usage.
Reduction.
Is there,
is it, do we still wanna charge for the capital
Oh, yeah.
and the, sewer usage for that period at a normal basis, right?
Yeah, if we reduce the water, we'll also reduce the sewer.
Right. So how do we put a figure on that?
Well, if you pass the motion to just adjust the bill to change it to the normal usage and relieve the penalties, then we could calculate that exact number out.
I'll make that motion.
Can I vote that? Can I vote? Doesn't matter.
Wow.
Second?
All in
Okay.
favor?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to.
Okay.
It's cleaner that way.
All right,
All right, I'm gonna excuse myself.
all right. Thank you.
So, what do they have to pay?
We'll have to calculate that actual
Calculate.
number out.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Dan. Later.
Okay.
Hey, ridiculous question. Can this be a creek again from Pete's backyard to Sanford? Or would that just serve to back up and start flooding out sideways into people's yards and basements?
Well, I actually think that in the long term, we should probably look at, two things. Looking for ways to, increase the amount of water we infiltrate that feeds into these storm sewers so that we can reduce the volume of flow. And secondly, rebuilding these sewers from Bowman Avenue south all the way up to where we, rebuilt it by Chester Street. Because I believe there's problems in between there, and also some of those lines apparently go under buildings, which is a disquieting thought.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a longer term picture.
Are Logan and Ash kind of a conduit of
Yeah,
sorts? Or?
this is where it goes down and crosses diagonally across Logan and Ash over to what's that street?
Thompson?
Yeah, Thompson.
Thompson?
Yeah. And then at Thompson, it goes back through the graveyard and eventually comes out to Bowman, where it discharges into the creek. Quite a bit of flow in that line, right, Tom?
Very much. Matter of fact, I told the FOCC group tomorrow to wear their waders and some storm gear. If you want to join us, we'll go on. We'll pull some manholes and supposed to get 2 inches of rain tomorrow. It'll be a good day to check out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll have to see if I'm available.
I'll make sure the time is available. We'll wait for you.
Oh, no, don't wait on me.
No, just have to wait to see what happens tomorrow and see
Yeah,
what the camera reveals.
Because, we didn't have problems for a while there, but we are having a change in the duration and intensity of rainstorms. It doesn't match the old charts that were in use for 50, 60 years. So we're rebidding the Dix Avenue project, which includes water and sewer and stormwater betterments, as well as the pavement preservation, curbing and sidewalks. And we're extending the completion date out until June of 2021, which, based on our conversations with contractors, was one of the sticking points that pushed the price up so high in the first bid. So we should be receiving those bids on Wednesday. Yes. That's all I have to say about that. I'll know more in a couple of days. Henry Street, we had a preliminary cut on some proposed remediation and forest main designs. And we reviewed that with CT Mail. And now they're working to resolve a couple of issues that came up and to bring us along to a 60% design on that project. It should take quite a bit of load off of the Henry Street station as well as improving its capacity. So we can reduce some of the sewer surcharging and backup that's happening in that area. We haven't had any overflows recently, but occasionally it's kind of close. On the Maple and Walnut Street project, which is being designed by MJ Engineers, we have some preliminary design reports, which Mr. Schneibel and I are currently reviewing. And we're going to meet with them tomorrow afternoon? Yeah. To go over that.
What are they doing on Maple Street now? They're digging up National Grid, digging up something.
Oh, well, because we're gonna be doing the Maple Street project, and when we're done, we're gonna pave it. We pushed National Grid to get in there and finish their gas main work. I think they're doing gas services on Maple, is that right?
Maple Street.
Not Maple, on Walnut Street.
Walnut doing services.
Yeah.
And Leonard.
Steve, are they giving, National Grid gonna be doing any more fill-in work on Maple? Because there's some nice little potholes down there.
They haven't done any repair yet. What they do is
Throw
just
some
put some
stone
cold
down.
patch and throw some crap on top,
Yep,
just
right.
to get you through. Yeah, they made a mess the last 3 years.
Yep.
We try to tell them to do certain stages and then finish it and then do certain stages. They don't. They just, as
Yep.
you can see.
Wow. So, we can bring them into line, basically by denying them additional road opening permits until they've cleaned up what they have. Sometimes that is not advisable to really stop them in the middle of their work, because some of this work is stuff that we're trying to get them to get done before we go into our paving program. So it is an annoyance, and we would like them to get back and do their pavement restoration sooner than they do, but it's pretty important that we get them out of those areas before we start our project. So I'm talking to their new gas supervisor this week, and we'll discuss that matter. We've also been doing some flow metering on part of the Maple and Walnut project, and I think we've gotten some good data out of that. And then we have the gravity sewer inflow and infiltration reduction study, which is focusing on gravity sewer and combined sewer areas and large impervious surfaces where there might be a lot of runoff. And that's being done with Arcadis engineers, and they're moving along with that project pretty well right now. As of 5 a.m. this morning, they had the last of 5 flow meters they were putting in installed, sewer flow meters, and just in time to pick up some really good data tomorrow.
Yep.
If their flow meters don't wash away.
We'll catch them.
There you can find them down here.
You'll find them. But we're moving along with that. We're also going to be doing some smoke testing a week of August 10th. And with smoke testing, we use a blower to blow a synthetic. It's not a combustion smoke, but it's a chemical that's sprayed in. It's non-toxic. That generates a thick white smoke, and we blow that into the sewer lines, and it helps us to identify cross connections and breaks in pipes. And we'll be doing that the week of August 10th. we're gonna be putting out a lot of flyers to let people know what's going on. And we'll be coordinating with the fire department so that if the smoke gets into anyone's house through faulty plumbing, that we're able to, you know, resolve the matter without a lot of, fire engines running around.
Do we, give any public notice on that?
Yeah, it's be on the city's website, and we'll do a press release on it as well.
Does it smell?
A bit.
But not like wood?
No, it's not like a wood fire or
Yeah.
a coal fire or
So
something like
it
that.
definitely won't smell like fire if they
No.
see it.
No. But, there's always somebody who
Yeah.
doesn't get the message, doesn't read the flyer at their front door,
Yeah.
gets some smoke coming in the house through a bad pipe or an untrapped drain line. And, it can be a little worrisome, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's an indication that gases from the sewer line are entering your house every day if that happens. So,
Yeah, right.
Anyway, that's moving ahead. And, the Elm Street parking lot, which is the downtown green infrastructure, is the technical name of the project, is, I'd say more than half done, close to 2/3 done. And, if you go back there right now, you can see, that the, bioretention basins have some plantings in them. And a lot of the, pavement restoration has been, taken care of. A lot of granite curbs and things. So it's kind of dressing it up, it's also gonna help reduce the stormwater runoff.
Elm Street parking lot, I didn't see a lot of, breaks in the curbs, to go into the, like,
The tree islands?
yeah, no, in the curbs, in front of the stores. I was looking at it, I didn't see a lot of, breaks in the curbs like, what do you call it, I can't think of the word.
Ramps?
No, that's not that important, I can't think of the words.
Handicap ramps?
Yeah.
There's a couple of them there. But, you know, we didn't put them in, for every, store entrance.
Oh, okay.
And if you guys, if anybody's driven up the Northway or up by Aviation Mall, you can see a lot of stuff hanging off the top of one of our tanks. And what they've been doing is we've got the tank dewatered and cleaned out. We are gonna have to put another valve in. They've already got the valve there. It's part of the work. We weren't sure where we were gonna put it though, until we tried the shutdown. But the tank is dewatered, number 2, cleaned out, and they're working on patching, installing the improved vents, and you'll see a lot of brackets hanging off the top of the tank, which are gonna support a containment shell. So that when they're grit blasting, that stuff doesn't get all over the place. I've asked for an updated schedule, I don't have it yet, but they're probably gonna start the blasting in about a week or so.
Any indication as to the condition of the tanks inside?
There's a little bit more deterioration from when we inspected them about 4 years ago, but generally nothing that can't be repaired.
Good.
So they'll be taking care of that and putting in the mixer and the new vent system.
I was up in there with my family riding bikes yesterday, and they seem to do a great job of cordoning off their section,
Yeah.
but keeping the trails accessible and open. I didn't expect that. It was very nice.
Yeah.
that they bothered,
Well,
or someone bothered.
we encourage them to bother. Because we know it's a pretty sensitive issue, use of the park.
Bring your breeze break.
What's that?
Bring your breeze break. My grandson got attacked by a swimmer with brown bears yesterday.
Really?
On number 3.
Oh, no. Up in the front or the back? That stinks.
So, personnel, you're fully staffed, right? No?
He's another half dozen.
All right, we'll put it in the budget.
So I can get the claim?
Wastewater treatment plant, water treatment plant, all staffed up. We're in pretty good shape there for personnel. And, so far, we haven't, lost anyone to, COVID-19. I don't have anything for executive session.
I do.
You do?
I spoke to you about this last week.
Oh, yes.
I already let Dan know. At this time.
Do you
it's
want to
not-
bring it up in an executive session?
Yes.
Well, then, give us a second here.
It's not like.
Make a motion, we move to executive session.
Second?
All there.
Aye.
Right.
Okay. That's right.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. Sorry, Larry.
That's it.
What happened to your grandson, Tom? No.
All set? Make a motion, we return from executive session.
Second.
Okay.
Other than that, we have our next meeting dates. If it's all right with the board, we plan to continue with the workshops as a mailed out update of reports. For social distancing. And we'll have our regular meeting on September 8th, which I think is Tuesday because of the Labor Day holiday.
It's gonna be at 2 o'clock.
What's that?
2 o'clock here.
Yeah, 2 o'clock here.
We'll have a planning board meeting that night too.
Yeah. All right.
Push it through.
All right. Does anyone care to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Can I apply for partial credit for my 6 PM attendance at last month's meeting?